Thanks, Debbie Thompson. So I'll do this again. Hi, the Ryan Clan. Hi, Whisper to Me. Hi, Teacup. Hi, Delia. Hi, Joe Glover. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Mary. Hi, Miss Mary. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Lise. Hi, Evie. Hi, Susan. Hi, Joe Kano. Hi, Al Jackson. Hi, Flower Girl. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Delia. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Tamlin. Hi, Miss Mary. Hi, Josephine. Hello. Veronica Hart. Hi. Hi, HRUB Girl. Oh, hold on a minute. No, my thing just jumped again. Hi, is that Carew? Hi, Shock Semler, how are you? Brenda, William, Ariel, Mama, hi. Janelle, hello. Hey, Angel Callie. I'll give you an update on Zoey. It's better than yesterday, let's put it that way. How's your mom and brother doing? Hi, Deb on the Move. Hey, Jigsaw Puzzler, haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Debbie Johnson. Randy, Tammy, Lori, Seaglass, Hennessy, Ninja, hi, Margie, Sabrina, Philly Farmhouse, Teresa, Lauren, let's see, Leah, Veronica, Sharon, hi, Julie T, hello, Jessica, Hennessy, I got you, Nana, Jules, Debbie C. Survivor, hey there. Holly, how are you? Okay, so quick update. My daughter has a friend who, she works in the government. She travels around to different countries. My daughter goes to these countries and sees her when she's there. So she's seen her in Mexico, she's seen her in Ecuador. But the point that I'm getting at is she has a West Highland White Terrier, or Westie. And she takes him everywhere with her. Okay, she won't go to any countries where they quarantine them. So the dog goes everywhere. He's a year older than Zoey. And my daughter, I guess, was telling her about what happened. And then my daughter said something about the Lyme disease. And she said, oh my gosh, your dog sounds like it has the same thing my Kipper did. Oh, now Zoe's drinking, so she might do that thing after she drinks. We were working on not happening, but I don't know. You might hear something. But she's been good. So she says Kipper had the exact same thing. He got a tick bite, and the tick-borne illness. Now, she brought me to something that we never even looked at before. More than the Lyme disease, the deer tick carries another disease. Okay, and it starts with an A, and my doctor never mentioned it. We never knew about it, but when I looked it up, it said that your brother is in ICU and had a tube put in his side to drain his lungs. It's not looking. Oh no. Your mom is stressed and went to the hospital to see him? Good girl, Zoey. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Hurry up. Go to sleep, so. It's okay. Go to sleep. Good girl. Go to sleep. Come here. No retching, okay? Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so I just have to pet her because she's not. This is really a big, huge improvement for her to drink. So I'll tell you the story why I pet her here. So I can get the name of it. It's like it's a long name. But what it said was that the deer tick, now obviously Zoey got bit by a deer tick or she wouldn't have Lyme disease. The deer tick transmits this. And it's very prevalent. It's like 5 areas. And New York is one of them, Western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and I believe I don't know the other ones, okay? And she said that her dog got this, and she thought her dog was going to die, okay? she said that her dog just went from, she goes, you know how Westies are, really spunky. And I said, yeah. She said, well, he went from like that to depressed, vomiting, losing weight, just looking horrible. And remember, she's in Ecuador, okay? So she brought him to a vet, and she shared with me the blood results. I don't know if I told you that Zoe's white blood cells are down, and the red, and the hemoglobin and the hematocrit. If she had leukemia, the white blood cells would be up. Anyway, her dog had the same things. Well, I'm praying for them, Angelica. So she said they put her on doxycycline. She didn't have a transfusion. She didn't have anything like that. They put her on the doxycycline. They, I think they gave her steroids too or whatever, but basically the same thing. And she said it was about a few days that she was on the antibiotics that she started to change. And she is completely back to herself. So that was the first thing that gave me some hope there, okay? That it wasn't the IMHE, and it wasn't, see, my vet never mentioned, that's the one good thing, he never mentioned that HA to me, because that's really, really like horrific. I mean, you don't want your dog diagnosed with that. So she's telling me all this, and I'm like, okay, this sounds great. So my daughter said she's going to call you tonight from Ecuador, at 7:30. So I went for my bike ride. I came back, and she called me, and she told me a lot of, she said a lot of what was going on. Now, Zoe has been, last night, after I got off the live with you, she went to drink her water. Now, normally when she drinks water is when she does that horrible retching, right? But I just did it now. Now she's back in bed. There was no retching. I'm going to do the case in 1 minute. They just want to know about this, okay? So I pet her a little bit. And anyway, long story short, today I said, I have this special cooker that you make bone broth in. I mean, you can make bone broth in other things, but it's a clay pot. It's like a clay pot slow cooker. And it's a special kind for nutrition, because you're going to get the most nutritional value with the bone broth in the clay. It's an unglazed clay cooker. So I said, you know what? I thought about it last night. I said, she needs to build her blood back up. And I asked this girl if her dog was given a supplement. She said her dog was given a supplement. It was actually a human supplement. Now, what I read, yeah, Veronica, I've heard that too. What I've read online is that people were giving their dogs Geritol. Well, I found a dog supplement with iron and other stuff, so I ordered that for her. That'll be here tomorrow or the next day. In the meantime, I said I'm going to feed her very, very good things. So what I did, I had Jimmy go out and get some bones. Tomorrow I'm going to make the bone broth, but today I couldn't make the bone broth. Thanks, you go girl. So what I did, I had Jimmy pick up some pre-made bone broth, right? And I took some chopped meat, and I put a saucepan of bone broth. I put, the amount she would eat in the chopped meat, the ground beef, chopped meat, ground beef. I don't know why I say that, ground beef. That's something that goes back to my father. Okay, ground beef. And then I took carrots and I cut them up. And then I took spinach, because spinach is iron rich, right? So I put spinach and I boiled it until the meat was cooked. And then I made her brown rice cooked entirely in the beef, the broth, the bone broth. And I cooked it all, right? And Jimmy said, okay, put it out to cool. And I kept saying, don't give it to her without me. Well, of course, he wanted to give it to her probably because, oh, look, I made you this, right? So he brings it out and he gives it to her. and she just scarfed the entire thing down. The other thing is she's going to the bathroom. She is going to the bathroom. She does not have an obstruction. So we found something that had to be hers. So that was a relief. Okay. So she still, like today, she sat outside on the porch for a little bit before wanting to come right in. And she sat there, and she came in, she wagged her tail, she went. So, I mean, you can tell she's weak, like she wants somebody to carry her up the steps to get in. But, you know, right now I have hope, where yesterday I didn't have hope. And you know what I mean? And she's seems better, and I'm going to hold on to that and keep doing whatever I can do, because that's, I think, the best that I can do. Right? And make her life as, you know, good as possible. And hopefully she'll be, she's drinking about the same. I've been putting electrolytes in her water. And, you know, we just like having her home. And like I said to this girl on the phone, she said, you know, Kipper was on, that's her dog's name, a few days. But see, I said, you know, it bothers me. Like she was supposed to be at the hospital getting an IV. I don't even know if she had an IV. But she was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and almost all of the day Monday. How do I know she was taking her antibiotics? I don't know that, because here sometimes she would spit them back up and we caught it and gave them to her. Over there, it could be, you know, the vet tech sees it and the doctor doesn't know she didn't take it, or, you know, you don't know what's going on. So I can't say she's had the antibiotics for so many days, because I don't know what happened over there. I don't know anything. I know what happens here. So I'm counting this, and I do see some improvement. Hopefully tomorrow will be, and maybe the antibiotics are finally kicking in. She says that's what happens. The antibiotic, get her some liver. You cook for your dogs. Yeah, I was going to do the liver. I'm going to do the bone broth. And so, you know, I'm trying to do what I can, and I just hope that the antibiotics, that's what she said, once the antibiotics kick in, they stop this thing that's attacking the red blood cells. So that, you know what I mean? But like last night I was like really upset, and then yesterday, then I was talking to her last night, and I saw that, you know, it's okay. I was holding her, and that was promising that she went to bed without gagging. And she just now got up and drank her water, and she didn't do that gagging. So I'm taking the little improvements as I get them. Yeah, thanks, Kathy. So yeah, I think she's much better off and here, and I'll see what happens. Like I told you guys, you know, if I saw her deteriorate today, but your little 3 weeks was a mess. Yeah, I want to give her a little shower too, but I want to wait till she's maybe tomorrow, we'll see. But yeah, wildlife, and I just hope that she's, you know, doing well. So yeah, what can you, right? One day at a time, absolutely, one day at a time. And today was it was a better day than what was yesterday. So I'll take that. Thanks, guys, and prayers. I'm always praying for all of you too. So all right, now let's go to this trial. Now, what is going on is that this trial, oh boy, I tried to listen to as much of this as I could today. It was hard because I had some things I had to do. I'm having a terrible time with a coffee table, and I'll show you the video. It's ridiculous, okay, what's going on with that coffee table that I'm refinishing. I'm just ready to paint the top of it, okay? But I've sanded it 3 times, and I'm starting over again tomorrow. So Then I went for a bike ride. I was listening to that. I got a phone call, so I took that. Came back. And then I just find what's going on now with who's watching this trial with this Dr. White? Is this guy ridiculous? I'm looking at the prosecutor and I'm like, there's another 45 minutes of this. I can't do this. Is that guy ridiculous? Oh my gosh. So I started with back going to the disputing of the exhibits and the arguments where it was a met, right? Where, oh my gosh. Where they went, what could be admitted, and they tried to get the counts, and he dismissed the one count on the evidence, right? And then, okay, they went through all of that. Then who gets on the stand but Scott Richardson? I thought this was going to be a long time. It really wasn't that long. And, oh my gosh, the defense with this was just so crazy, okay? Where do you live? Okay, we found out what he does, right? He works construction. I wanted to say that yesterday. He just looked like a guy that was in construction. I don't know. I just had that vibe. And he said, he works in construction. He had worked in SK construction. And now he's town of constructions. Previously, he was at SK, and he mentions that you guys are familiar with SK because remember that potential juror worked for SK? He's an accountant with them? I didn't hear that. I heard he's in construction. Where did you hear that, Leah? I didn't hear any yet. Wait, he's an accountant? You thought he said he's an accountant? How come I heard he's an accountant with the construction company? He's an accountant at construction. He said an account. Okay, but he was at S&K construction before that, right? Okay, whatever. Okay, he looks like he works in construction, but maybe that's why now some things are making sense. They asked him some questions that I thought if he was in construction, he would know. Like they asked him about an open floor plan, and he seemed not to know what they were talking about. They asked him about something else about, he's an accountant with a construction company. Okay, I must have missed that. Got it. He doesn't look like an accountant to me. I'm sorry, he doesn't. But okay, I'll take your word for it. So, let's see, they ask him who he lives with, Kim, his wife, his daughter, his son, 2 mini schnauzers. Oh, can you tell us about the mini schnauzers? They went into the mini schnauzers. Jimmy was looking at a little bit of this, and he's like, oh my gosh, why are they doing this? And I'm like, don't you understand? They're wanting her to look very, good. When they started showing the baby pictures, okay? I said they want to show you that, look, she was a good baby. She loved her father. She loved her mother. This is not the kind of kid that's going to kill someone, right? Okay, so where did you see that, Debbie? Okay, so they said, how did he get this? Where the dogs, Norman sleeps with Skylar, and Peanut sleeps with Kim. And will they wake up if there's a sound? Oh my gosh, they're like an alarm if there's a sound, okay? And that's why he knew the baby could not have been born alive, because if the baby was born alive and Norman heard that, Norman would go bananas. Hi, Alicia. Scooter, Monica, Danielle, hi. So, then let's see. Okay, and then he says, where were you living when you had Skylar? They were in Middleton. Where was Skylar born? She was born in the Middleton Hospital. Who delivered her? Dr. Andrew. What kind of mother was Kim? She was a doting, loving mother. And then they bring up a photograph of Kim as a mother holding Jackson and having her daughter like against her knee to show she's a wonderful mother. And then, because you know, pictures don't lie. Pictures always tell the right story. And just like Facebook statuses and everything. But anyway, so they show the picture to show she's a good mother. And then they start showing pictures of the dad and the daughter. Oh, is this you holding your daughter? How old is she? Is this you holding your daughter? Is this her asleep on your chest? Oh, she was a loving child? Oh, she was so loving. Because I'm sure no one that's ever done anything like this, I'm sure they came out of the womb just a horrible bad seed and they didn't do anything nice ever in their life, right? So who did a video about it? Who's Deb on the Move? What's going on? Who did a video about what? Anyway, so they, that's why I can't look at the chat because I get distracted. So, okay, so then they show all these photos of her and the dad. And then they say, daddy's girl, right? Oh, you're saying something else. See, I can't look at that. Well, I'll tell you about the mother in just a second. So then how was she with her brother? Oh, she loved him. She loved her brother. Oh my gosh. And they show pictures of the brother. Okay, I can tell you right now, I can find a lot of pictures of siblings when they're little and they're sitting there and they're loving on them. And I can tell you in their adulthood, they can't stand them. They don't even talk to them anymore. Okay? How someone is saying that this is indicative of anything, this is so ridiculous. Okay? And I can show you mothers that are narcissists or mothers that are many other things that have pictures of kids sitting on their lap and smiling when they're 1 and 2 years old. It's ridiculous. And when are people going to take a picture? Do most people take a picture when like you're having like a massive fight? Hey, everybody's having a massive fight. Let me grab some pictures. Right? You're always trying to be at your best, and if you're not, even if you're angry, you're going to plaster like a smile on your face. Okay, so this was ridiculous, and it went on and on. So did she like children? Oh, she loved children. You know what? Oh my gosh, she loved children. They show how she volunteered with this rainbow program where they had special needs kids. Oh my gosh. And then I laughed. Did you laugh? Because there was one picture with her and in some kind of like, it looked like it almost like a jump house or a bounce house. And then the next picture was just the kids. And he goes, is Skylar in this picture? No, she's not. I guess, I don't know, maybe she was, like, oh, okay, what would you even, that must mean she had a lot of pictures with that rainbow crew, didn't they? That they chose a picture that she wasn't even in. Okay, that spoke volumes. Okay, and then they start talking about what kind of kid was she? Did she play sports? Oh, she tried. She played softball because her mom, Kim, loved softball, right? She loved it. Oh, here's a picture of her in the backyard. She's there in the backyard with a freaking Little Tykes baseball tee. Are you kidding me? Okay. That had to be. Where's the picture of her on the softball team? Where is the picture? Where is the group picture of on the softball team? Where are the soccer team pictures? Every kid has one of those baseball tees. That doesn't mean she played on a softball team. I mean, if I want to go and dig up, I can bring up all the team photos where my daughter played softball, where she played t-ball, where she played softball. I've got the stuff with the hat and the shirt. My boys have it from the sports they played. I'm not going to pick up something where they were on a tee when they were 2 years old to say they were playing softball. That was crazy, okay? And then, well, yeah, she tried to play soccer. She tried, and then she liked tennis, but she never did it. You like tennis? Yeah, I like tennis. Do you play? No. I liked it. I like to watch it on TV sometimes. You don't know? Okay. That was absolutely ridiculous. And then the sport she does do, right? Oh, she does gymnastics, and then she went into cheer. But then later on, we find out she dropped out of cheer. But not a lot was spent on that, right? The defense didn't say that she dropped out of cheer in her senior year. Okay, and why'd she drop out of cheer in her senior year? I wonder, because for somebody that was so into cheer, was it because her weight, or somebody said the little outfit doesn't fit you the way that it should? Why did she have to drop out of cheer? She couldn't be the top of the pyramid anymore. Something was going on. It was too obvious. The coach said something. What happened? Nobody mentioned why she dropped out of cheer. Okay, so then he starts talking about and she loved children. So then he shows a picture which she's at a game and she's squatting down and holding like a 5-year-old kid came up to her and she took a picture. They gravitate towards her, don't they? Yeah, they do. She could have never. That changed my whole mind, because I see her posed with a kid, and she worked at the Y with kids, and she worked with special needs kids that I know she never would have ever done anything. She could never harm a child. Okay, so then let's see. They start asking about extended family. And he says, well, Kim's family is mostly from Carlisle, so we see them a lot. And his family is from Middleton and West Middleton, so we see them too. Oh, so she grew up with this big extended family? Yeah. And there were a lot of kids around, right? A lot of kids? Yeah, lots of kids, lots of cousins and everything. All right, let's look at some pictures. Okay, because we're looking at her with pictures, right? Oh, it was really very overdone, okay? And then your Easter traditions, and tell me what you did here. We went to church. Oh, did you say you went to church? She's not going to do anything like this. She goes to church. Okay, so, and then you had an Easter egg hunt? An Easter egg hunt. Okay, great. And then you went to your grandmother's, and you were at her. Wonderful. And you were with everyone, and oh, look at these, and everyone, did kids gravitate to her? They did. Yeah, she was just like a magnet for these kids, wasn't she? Oh, wonderful, wonderful, so wonderful. Like nobody wonderful has ever done a horrible thing, right? Okay. Christmas, you were always around a lot of kids at Christmas. Oh, Christmas, Okay. She enjoyed being around other kids. Oh, she loved being around other kids. Okay, we're going to take a Facebook picture. That's what they showed, the Facebook picture, but just the one with the special needs kids. The other one didn't have her in it, okay? And how often did she work with these kids? Oh, about once a week, the father said. And she volunteered herself, right? You didn't make her do it? No, she did it all by herself. Okay, good. And when did her eating disorder start? Yeah, her eating disorder started at 12, but I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it till probably the 8th grade. Oh, okay. What happened? Well, she started hiding food in her room. She did not eat normally. Her weight fluctuated. She became overly concerned about caloric intake. Okay, all right. So, 8th grade, right? Yeah. And then what was going on in school? Was school all great? Well, she had some uncomfortable relationships and some bullying. Okay. And when was her weight really fluctuating? I don't know. Probably when she was a junior in high school, but they keep saying sophomore in high school. So he starts showing some photos and look at this. How much weight do you think she lost in these 6 months? Oh, I think about 30 plus or minus pounds, right? Okay, and he's showing how her weight fluctuated. And again showed how the little kids were hanging out with her. And then he shows side-by-side photos of the prom dress. Same dress, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then he says, what happened? How did you know? Well, like, what was going on? He said, well, I came home and there were police cars in my driveway. This was July 14th. And I called Skylar at her grandmother's. She was swimming there with Brandon and his little sister. I'm surprised this Sunny Boy defense guy didn't say, wait a minute, she was there with his little sister? Wow, that's something, right? She probably wanted to take his little sister and she wasn't at all jealous that he wouldn't have time. She wanted to spend time with his little sister. He didn't mention that one, okay? So then he said, what happened? She came back. He says, were you at all worried? I didn't think she could be in any trouble. I don't care how good your kid is. If you have police in your driveway, hi Molly, that are telling you, did you talk to her anything on the way? I just told her, no, we're not offline, Danielle, we're online. You're seeing offline? Uh-oh, what are you talking about? I'm not offline, I'm on. I'm online. I don't know what you guys... Oh, we're online. Okay. You guys are scaring me. So, I was gone for a wee second. Okay. So, he says, I told her, just tell them the truth. And, okay. And so, did she have respect? Did you raise your kids to have respect for law, for police officers and authority? Yes, we thought that was the right thing to do. Okay. So, then he says, did you know she was pregnant? No, we were very surprised. Oh, okay. And then July 20th, they wanted her again, right? And then you brought her back? How come you didn't get her a lawyer? And Scott says, we were told we didn't need one. And he said, did you think your daughter was facing serious charges? And he said, no. They didn't tell me that she was facing serious charges. And does your daughter understand and, trust authority figures? She trusts them? Yes. Did you know police are allowed to lie? Did you know that they're allowed to lie? And the father says, no. And if you would have told me that then, I wouldn't have believed you. Okay, hang on. Let me get back. My notes are over here now. Okay. And what temperature? Now, where was he going with this question? What temperature was it between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. on May 7th? I don't really know. Okay, well, we got the National Weather Service. All right, it's between 36 and 41 degrees. And then he doesn't even elaborate on that, okay? Okay. Then he starts talking about the bed being moved. Why did they move the bed? Well, he said, we wanted to do something after the house search. And then the defense shows picture after picture of the messy room that the police left. Okay? In any type of search that I've heard about or seen on TV, the police don't come in and clean up, okay, after they go through a search. Where does this defense attorney think that the police come in and clean up after a search? Has anybody ever seen that on any show or anything? Oh, hold on, guys, let's get back in here and clean this up. They don't clean up after a search. Okay? But this defense attorney is acting like, look at the way this police department left this place. Right? It's so bad. So they don't. Okay. And then he says, and how many times did they search your house? And the father says, well, only once inside. And then the defense says, but ultimately, right? They did 3 searches of your property? Yeah. And is it normal that you guys wanted to change your decor? Is that common? And the father said, well, for Kim and Skylar, it's common. I'm the one that got to do all the moving. Okay, so why did you want to change things? He said, we just wanted to change things up after the search, and we wanted to move some furniture downstairs along with the bed. Okay, and there was lighter fluid around. What did you use that for? For bonfires, the father said. What, did Skylar light any fires? No, never. We never plays with matches. Okay, why did she have a lighter in her room? Oh, candles, okay. And I guess, did Kim like to burn candles too? Yeah, she did. Okay. And that bunch of empty bleach bottles, and margarita mix bottles. They were in some kind of a container. Was that your recycling container? The father says, no, that's just a storage container. It was I take those bottles, I take them out and I fill them with water and I bring them to my father's property and I shoot them for target practice. Now, this was really weird. Can I tell you how weird this was? He goes, my father owns land that you can shoot on. Do they not have those hay bales and something else with a target? Did anybody else see that? I thought it was like, I didn't know what it was at first. And then, why would he have to take the bottles? Why would he have to save them and take them to his father's when it's safe to shoot, obviously, right there because they're shooting there? That was weird. That was really weird. No, I understand it's common, Debbie, but I'm saying he was able to shoot on his own property because he's got a big target in the back. Why did he say he was bringing the bottles to his father's? I'm not saying I don't believe about the bottles. I'm saying, why did he say he had them to go to his father's? You thought it's for bow and arrows? I thought maybe that was the only thing. Is that bow practice? That's it? The hay bales are for bow practice only? He can't use guns where he is. Okay. All right, I'll give him that. I thought maybe, okay, whatever, I'll give him the bow and arrows, that's fine. Okay, so you take those bottles and you bring them up over there. Then, let's see, how long was that those bottles piled up for? Oh, for months. Okay. And then he said, you guys have an open floor plan, right? And that's what father's like, yeah. Okay. And why is Kim not in the courtroom? And he said, because the prosecution brought her in as a witness. So, who can barely walk? Who can barely walk? The father? Maybe his dad lives in the country. Yeah, maybe. Okay. And he said, Mom cheering Skylar on about her weight loss. They've done that for a while, probably. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And what is, let's see here. What's your biggest regret? They asked him. And it was, so Zoey, come here, where are you going? Not having an attorney for the second interview. Okay? And what do you want to say before you get off the stand? And he just wants to say that Skylar would never hurt another human being, let alone a baby. Okay? Then they get this Dr. John White on, the gynecologist and obstetrician. Okay, the one that, this guy, first he was a little bit Rain Man, then he was just a little bit of a jerk. Okay. So the defense, gets him first, and they go through, his whole history, all the CV stuff, right? And then let's get to the crux of it. How do the obstetricians confirm, how do they find or date a pregnancy? What do you do, right? So he says, well, we do three things if someone's just coming in, We have to confirm the pregnancy. We have to confirm the pregnancy is in the uterus and not in the fallopian tubes. And then we have to estimate the gestational age. Well, how do you estimate the gestational age? Well, from the first day of the last menstrual period, which we call LMP, and we ask every patient that, okay? And then, let's see, he says a fundal height is another way that we do it, beginning at 24 weeks of pregnancy. And then he goes through all the things he used to come to his opinion, right? And some of that was the interrogation records and Skylar's records from Hilltop OBGYN, and then other medical records she had. And you came within, a reasonable degree of medical certainty that indeed she delivered he kept saying stillbirth instead of stillborn, a stillbirth infant in the toilet at 3 a.m. is what he says, okay? And how did you come to that opinion? He said, well, I went through her records from children's, and she has I saw early on she had a psychiatric disorder, eating disorder, anorexia. And then I saw the report from Susan Allen, the deputy coroner, and I saw Dr. Murray's reports, and then I saw reports and emails going back and forth between, Dr. Murray, and then what else did he say? He got, that gentleman, Levon, that report from that Levon guy, and what else did he get? He went over the police interviews 5 or 6 times. He went over the ones on July 14th and July 20th, and he started to talk a little bit like Rain Man here, like it was definitely I went 5-6 times July 20th. I don't know, he just reminded, yeah, definitely on the 20th. And then Daddy Defense was doing this one, okay? What facts support your opinion? Oh, okay. Well, she She was young, a young age pregnancy. She had a long history of eating disorders. In February of her sophomore year, they had to bring her to, this children's place because she was having these problems, this eating disorder. Her labs were normal, but that's thanks to the vigors of youth, okay? And did you know that eating disorders like anorexia can be fatal? I'm sure you've all heard of Karen Carpenter. And I'm like, okay. It seemed like, yeah. And then, let's see. He says he made a lot of mistakes, okay? First, he claims that the physical that he used was a sports physical that happened on September 13th, 2016, but that's incorrect, and the prosecution went through that with him, okay? He gave a lot of wrong, he said he misspoke a lot. Okay, so he says that. So he says, easy to say that that's her pre-pregnancy weight. And we're 99.9% sure that Trey Johnson is the father. And he said that they were together from July 24th to August 6th. Skylar was involved in some relations, as teenagers do. Now, why do you have to say, as teenagers do? Right there, he's showing you he's a biased witness. Well, he should be sticking to his... Why is he defending her as teenagers do? That shouldn't have been there, okay? That shows right away he is a biased witness there. Then he thinks that little trick, that Nagel's rule. I said, we all know how to do that, silly. Okay, he thinks everybody does that stupid thing. That's what I told you the other day. You add 7 days to the last menstrual period and you count back 3 months, right? So he thinks it's like a big secret he's letting everybody in the courtroom on. And so he goes back, but as he's going back, he says, okay, so if we take, August 7th as the last date, and we go back 2 weeks and we say that that's when her period started, 2 weeks before that, I come to the conclusion that her due date would be May 1st, okay? And then I look at the femur length that Dr. Murray got, and it's consistent with May 1st being her due date. Okay, and let's see. And then she had a 32 centimeter fundal at her examination in her 3rd trimester, he said. And, that's a coincidence that fundal measurement measures the pregnancy in weeks. He said that twice. And when they told her this, they told her it was too late for an abortion. And she went into a panic and said, don't tell my mom. And then he said he started to extrapolate on what Skylar was thinking. There was an objection, and they told him, no, stick to the facts of what's going on. Don't try to, say what Skylar was thinking here, right? So he says, okay, so then Daddy Defense says, what facts were you looking at? Okay, well, I was looking at the description of the delivery in her interviews. I was looking at the 32 centimeter fundal, which would be abnormal for that, for her to be 39 weeks. That's a 7 centimeter lag, okay? And they ask him, let's see. Hold on. Oh, then he goes to this Daddy Defense, fundal fight again. Fundal height again. And the due date, he gives him 2 calendars. He makes him do the whole due date thing again so the jury can see it and understand it. Okay? And it's at this time that this Dr. White makes a mistake, he goes like this. You count, he was trying to say how most people would have to do it, but he's got the secret, that one that you take the last menstrual period, you add 7 days and you count back 3 months. Well, instead he goes, you count back 3 months and you add 40 days. And no one corrected him. You don't mean 40 days, sir? You mean 7? No, 4. Okay. Then they're having like technical things. It's clear. No, it's not clear. It's stuck. The thing is stuck. Oh my gosh, that was they were a comedy team, those two. Skylar describes at least 20 times, one way or another, that it was a stillbirth, is what this Dr. White says. Okay? And then in the second interview, she says the baby was really white. And a healthy newborn is blue or purple. Okay? And what else did she say? And the reason that the baby just plopped out, because that's what happens, the skull starts to collapse, and that's why the nurses call the doctors really fast when there's a stillbirth, because you don't want that baby just plopping onto a bed, is what he said. Okay? Let's see here. The cord snapped in two and then she delivered the placenta. That's what Daddy Defense said. So he said, well, the cord is narrow, so it can break off easily in a stillbirth. And so that's what happens. Okay, and then he starts talking about, he puts up a picture of a newborn. Tell me about this newborn. Is this newborn? Tell me about it. So he's talking all about what a healthy newborn looks like. It has a lusty cry, and he's going about the lusty cry. But have you delivered a lot of stillborn babies? Oh, I'd say about 100. And what are they like? Well, they're white because there's no oxygen exchanging between the mother and through the placenta. And, everyone is familiar with the power, he said this, everyone is familiar with the power of death. And then they said, okay, so the prosecutor, hired Dr. Brady, right? And you had a chance to review the stuff that Dr. Brady, his report, his conclusion, correct? Yes. And what do you say? Well, I disagree with what he put down there, and I came up with an entirely different conclusion. Okay? And he said that one of the things he takes, into consideration is that she did have an anemia. That this Dr. Brady is saying there's a lack. She must have been healthy because she would have had anemia if she was nutrient deficient. And so he brings up the blood results and says, you see, it's easy for him to miss it, but let's look at the Hilltop records, okay, and the blood results. See the RDW? That stands for red cell distribution width. And you see that's not in the normal levels, and that means that her bone marrow is trying to keep up with the body, and that means she is nutrient deficient. Okay, and then he said she would also be, deficient in iron, B12, folate, okay, and, she was barely hanging on, he said. She was barely hanging on. She was barely hanging on, but she supposedly delivered a baby, got right up, cleaned herself off, grabbed a shovel, and buried her daughter in the backyard, came up, cleaned the whole bathroom, cleaned everything, cleaned herself again probably, got into bed. But she was barely hanging on. Okay. All right. And then they said, Dr. Brady said that the fundal height is only accurate 40% of the time. Do you believe that? No, I don't. Okay. And then he brings up that the ACOG, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, their bulletin, okay, goes over the exact same things that they went over with Dr. Brady, right? Okay. Now, if someone's taking birth control pills, Dr. White, when they're pregnant, could that damage a baby? No, it wouldn't. I mean, not in terms of, the mother taking them. Well, if she took them in the first trimester, it could do something with the sex of the baby, giving the male, female characteristics and stuff like that. But apart from that, if she took them in the third trimester like this, no, it wouldn't do any harm. No harm at all. Okay. And does the intrauterine growth restriction affect the femur length, Dr. White? Well, it can. There's two forms. There's symmetric IUGR that you'll see with Down syndrome and toxoplasmosis and other things. And, then it affects the femur lengths. But then there's this asymmetric IUGR. It's the most common type, okay? And it's about a placental dysfunction. And the femurs are normal. The head circumference is normal, but it's the abdomen that's usually not, okay? So then, is that the ones that you believe Skylar had? Oh, yes. I believe she had IUGR, asymmetrical IUGR. Okay, so if someone is full term, 39 to 41 weeks, does that not tell you about the weight? No, because just because you're full term doesn't mean how much the baby was going to weigh. Okay, so then they show a picture of a scale, and he says, okay, that was May 11th, so this is daddy defense. So that was 5 days after birth, and then Dr. White says, no, that was 4 days. Oh, I'm terrible with math. That's what daddy defense says, okay? And she is already 8 pounds less than her pre-pregnancy weight, because he's basing that pre-pregnancy weight on what he thinks is in a September physical, okay? So what does that mean? Oh, well, that just corroborates my conclusion that she had a caloric defect, because it takes mothers so long. That healthy weight that they put on takes them so long to get rid of it. The fact that she is already only 4 days after this child's birth, that she's, already 8 pounds under her pre-pregnancy weight, that just proves she had a caloric defect. Then they have the cross-examination, right? Okay. And she said, you changed your opinion on your reports. You said before, likely. Now you're saying, what is it that you're saying? To a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Okay. And you're basing that on only one measurement in this case. Oh, this is where it goes crazy, right? Of course. No, he goes, of what? And she goes, only one measurement. Of what? Of the baby that Skylar was, they went on until the judge had to intervene. And then the fundal height. Well, we had more than one measurement. We had more than one measurement. What did we have? Well, if you're basing this on, he was just going nuts. We had blood, no, of the baby. Well, we had the femur, no, before that. It was just crazy. You guys watch this? Okay. Finally, she gets, remember, he hasn't seen anybody testifying, okay? And so she says, You have nothing to corroborate Dr. Andrews' measurement with, correct? Correct. Okay. Dr. White, prior to baby Richardson's death, how many measurements? We have the fundal, but you could mean, and then that's again who's going on. We've got the blood work, we've got this, we've got that. Okay. She says, we have one measurement. He says, I disagree. Okay. I can assess to a degree of medical certainty the fundal measurement of 39 weeks. And she says, 39 weeks? You mean 32? No, I mean she was 39 weeks. The jury must be like going crazy, because I would have been going crazy. Okay. So then she says, then he says something about the police report. And she says, you didn't list the police report in your report of the stuff you reviewed. And so then they went through that. So now she says, did Dr. Andrews, if Dr. Andrews came in here and said that you need 2 measurements to diagnose IUGR, would you agree with that? And then he was like, he wouldn't even give her he just kept going around. Then she said, you agree, you don't know her gestational age, correct? Correct, you agree with that. His assumption that she was 32 weeks. Okay, yes, all right. And he stated that, would you disagree with if Dr. Andrews said you need 2 measurements to diagnose IUGR? And then she said, Dr. Brady agreed. Do you agree that you need at least 2 measurements to diagnose IUGR? And he said, unless he can't, but if not, I agree. Okay. So then she says, we've had a lot of testimony about this fundal height. How do you measure fundal height? And he says, with a measuring tape. And he says, because you cannot do fundal height without a tape. And she says, and I would have loved to have seen the defense's face here. Did you listen to the recorded interviews of Dr. Andrew with the police? No. Would it have been helpful to know that he measured with his hands? And he says it cannot be done with hands. And then he starts going into elaborating. Okay, so you would want to know then, right, that Dr. Andrews measured with his hands? And then he started going at him, and she said, you just said you can't measure with hands, because he said, I would go by the number in the report. And she said, you just said you can't measure with hands. So the number in his report would be based on a measurement he did with his hands. Okay? And if he told investigators he did not use a tape, how does that impact your opinion there of what you're saying she was? And he was totally stumped. He sat there, and he just sat there like this. I have not thought about if we did not have a fundal. And then she's like, can I? And he's like, no, I'm thinking. Okay. And then he said, well, I still had suspicions from her weight gain and no prenatal care. So that would not have changed my opinion. So are you unable to say with a certainty that with a level of confidence? And she said, would you agree that the fundal height is just a screen? It's not diagnostic, correct? Okay, you're aware nothing was done to corroborate that fundal height? Yes. So the reality here is we have no idea of how many weeks she was, correct? No idea of the gestational age on the 26th of April. Correct. Okay, and no accurate fundal height if he measured with his hands, correct? Okay. Then she starts talking about the head down cephalic position. Wouldn't that reduce the fundal height? And he says, I disagree. Okay? She says, you disagree? Okay. And he says he disagrees with both of them, that both Dr. Brady and Dr. Andrew said that the fundal height will go down when the baby engages in the pelvis, and he disagrees. So then she says, you list on here your Williams obstetrical text number 17? Yes. So then she brings him the text, and she goes over the text, okay, where it says that the fundal height measurement has a 60%, she shows him that 60% error rate that he just said he doesn't agree with, right? And so then he says, well, I agree then if that's what it says. And she said, well, you listed this textbook as something that you consulted, right? I'm not disagreeing with the book, he said. Okay, so then you understand there's a 60% error rate in the fundal height, right? And he said, well, it said that in 1991. And then but you said that was a book you relied upon, correct? Correct. Along with everything else, he says. So you would agree we have unreliable measurements? I don't know that, he says. So now Dr. Andrews lied, she says, right? Well, she goes, you don't know how he obtained the fundal height, correct? Correct. And if I told you he used his hands, okay, you would agree with me that that's not reliable. And then he goes, that's not a measurement at all. And she says, and we have no others, right? Correct. I would have loved to have seen the defense's faces. Okay. Your assumption of a 7-week lag is based on nothing then. It's based on nothing. And you don't have any reliable measurement done because it was done by Dr. Andrews' hand. So no measurements were made of this baby while she was alive. And he says, well, the femur length would be the same at the time of death. That you can still use that. And she said, you have no data to make your assumptions. And he says, if you are correct. And he said, I would be less sure of what I'm saying then. That's the only thing. I'd be less sure of it. Okay, other factors you took into consideration were her sports physical, right? And she said, and you said that happened in September, and right away he goes, I misspoke. It was July 13th. Okay, July 13th, 134 pounds. And you know she had an eating disorder, correct? And that her weight fluctuated? Yes. You know what her weight was in August? No, I don't. You know what it was September, October, November, December, January, right up till April 26th? No, I don't know her weight at all. And you know that her weight goes up and down, correct? Yes. So when we calculate, he goes, when we calculate, we use pre-pregnancy weight and then that at delivery. But you don't know, though, and we saw her weight fluctuate. So you don't know exactly what it was, and you don't know about her use of laxatives and exercising and eating. You don't know any of that, right? And he says, well, it's still a maternal weight gain of 15 pounds. I just don't know the spikes, how the spikes went. So then, let's see. She says, on February 7th in your first report, can you read the second statement? Due date May 14th is what you said there, right? And he said yes, but he was using excerpts of the interview and he didn't know about stuff with Trey. So there's a 2-week difference, I believe is what he said. He said, my report says May 14th, and now I say it's May 1st. But you said last time that August 27th was the date of conception. And he says, well, then I'm 2 weeks off, then or now. But I based that on Elizabeth Murray's anthropology result. So the one I utilized was the femur length that I used to come up with May 14th. And she said, you're not aware of what other witnesses are testifying, correct? Correct. The anthro said that the fetus was 38 to 40 weeks based on the femur length. And based on that info, you came up with August 21st as it was 21st, not the 27th, 21st as the conception date. And she said that the relationship was not in, he said it was not into August. You were not aware that they were not even together in July. So now you know they were not together and you do not have a correct due date. I accept your word for that. And then she said the defense showed you a side-by-side photo and of their prom and of the prom dress, and you said you took that into consideration. So she shows the prom pictures and she says, you don't think that's a significant weight gain? Look at those two pictures. And then she says to him, tell me what that picture is. And he said, well, that's the picture of the prom night. And she says, okay. And do you know what kind of dress that is? Do you know what a corset dress is? Not really. Do you know what a corset is? And he says, like a girdle. And she says, well, it's able on the back to be tightened up or let out. And she says, it to accommodate more weight gain. And then they stopped something, I don't know what, and they started talking about if he counsels mothers normally about killing themselves. And she said that if someone did, counsel a mother on killing herself, a pregnant mother, they must be pretty concerned at that point, correct? Have you ever given a patient suicide warnings? And he said, well, I do more than that. If I feel someone's a danger to themselves, I would alert their family or law enforcement and get them into the hospital right away, right? So she said, you keep mentioning a crisis pregnancy. What is a crisis pregnancy? And he said it's an unplanned and unwanted, and they don't know what to do. And they say things like, I can't have this baby, or someone's going to hurt me. And she felt, let's see, Dr. Andrews made the assumption. Oh, if Dr. Andrews made that assumption, he must have thought that's how she felt, right? I agree. And it's my understanding when they talked about where they had to notify authorities that the baby is somewhere if a patient comes back without the baby. And she says, before you said stillborn, but you were not, now you said likely, again, now you say it's definitive, okay? So what is the reason that you changed? And he says, well, it's definitive to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. So she says, you're saying in your report, you said because there was no gush of fluid. And they start going back to, you said that meant there was not significant amniotic fluid, right? Right. That's the crux of your, of your assumption there? Yeah. Well, where did you get this from? What transcript? So they start going back and going through these transcripts, and he said, I believe that Detective Carter said there wasn't a gush, and she goes, do you know where? He goes, my notes, I can't remember. So she brings up the transcript, and it shows that Skylar says, I don't know. So she goes, how do you take I don't know to being that there definitely was not, right? And then you said she had a relatively short labor, and he said, well, that was based on the fact that I didn't know, but he found out now that, she had said she had cramps when she went to a Reds game, and he didn't see that. So then you could say, well, no, she didn't have a relatively short labor. Okay, so you could disregard the short labor. Yes, okay. And then you talk about small size, right? But it's you assuming the baby was small, correct? Yes. And thank you, Carolyn. This case is sad but very informative. Please try and put yourself in this teenager's shoes. Thank you, Nanny, for love. And I remind me that I have someone else that I missed last night. I have to say thank you to. Okay. But you assume it was small, right? So did Skylar work at some place called Child Watch? Yes, she did, right? Okay. And she spent a lot of time with children, even babies as young as 6 weeks old. Correct. And so let's look at Skylar's description of the baby, right? Yes. She was kind of big, is what she said. She was kind of big. What do you think about that? Now, I don't know. Well, I don't think she would be able to guess that she's kind of big. She knew babies, so he's like, fine, he puts that one on. And then she says, let's talk about this mammalian dive reflex, okay, that you said. So they go on about this. He said there's 2 reasons a baby is not going to breathe when it goes into water, because there's no air in the lungs, and if it's underwater, you're not going to hear a gurgle. And babies don't gurgle, is what he said. So she said, where did you read the baby is underwater? Is that another assumption, Dr. White? And he says, babies do not gurgle. They gasp in and scream. Okay. Do you remember her saying she caught her head coming out? He said, I believe she said she tried, that babies were slippery. So she again brings up the transcript and she shows him. And she says, do you see where she said it went into the toilet in the second interview? And so he said something like, well, she said the baby was in there underwater for 2 minutes, and she pulls it up and she says, see where they said was her head part underwater? And she says, I don't think, no. Well, I was looking at what Dr. Carter asked about bubbles. He says something about that, right? And the gurgle. So I was thinking that. So the fact that she used gurgle, and then she used gurgle because they were making her use gurgle, okay? So you just disregarded that then, right? Is that what you did? It was irrelevant to you? And then he said, well, I didn't weigh it and put it, it wasn't in my medical opinion. It didn't have any stillbirth value for him or something. And then they had an afternoon break. Okay, and then they went back onto this because she asked him if a baby gurgles, if a baby moves its arms, are these signs of life? He says yes. So she says at Skylar's age, she was probably more experienced with signs of life than signs of death. Would you agree? Yes. But you disregarded that, right? And then they go to, he says, you said she saw her daughter is really white. Where did you see that? And he says, well, I think it was in the transcript. She pulls up the transcript, right? And she doesn't say really white. They asked her, and she says, white, I think. Not really white. White, I think. And then they asked her about her extremities, and they said that white was about the goopy stuff. And so that white is not definitive, right? No, correct. So I couldn't do anymore. I couldn't after that. I couldn't listen to him anymore. I have to go back and finish that, but it was just it was too much. What did you guys I mean, who watched that all the way to the end already? Did anything else major happen with that doctor and the prosecution? Your mom gave birth, it tried to hide, and still... What? You didn't? Me, no? Oh, you did and nothing else, really? I wonder why her dad can... Because the prosecution called the mother. Why did she ask him about arms moving and legs? She did ask him about that. She asked him if those were signs of life. The baby goes head first from 96 into a cold. I think this baby drowned. I couldn't either. He was so annoying. No, you did fine, Carolyn. She copied the word gurgle from the early retired cop with disciplinary actions who seems to have gone deaf. Yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That would drive me absolutely bananas. The man they called later about a pressured testimony. Yeah, I've got to finish watching it. I got involved with a coffee table today, and I'm going to finish watching it. I just don't think they can prove the baby was born alive without a reasonable doubt. I believe that when Skylar picked the baby out of the toilet, she wrapped the baby and held the baby. She might have just, Jenny D, taken the baby out of and just wrapped the baby completely up. You know what I mean? Face and everything. Just wrapped it. I wonder why they didn't reconstruct the toilet with a padded doll and make her show them how it happened. Couldn't watch him all the way. He was driving me mad, right? Wasn't there when she was born. You watched all of it? Okay. The pressure testimony guy was a Woody Allen clone? I'll have to watch him. She has no remorse, nothing. I worked in a hospital where the baby drowned in there, Evie. What did he say? Because Skylar and well, yes, I did see the movement, I think. He said they were signs of life. That's what he said. Nunny love, I was totally right there with you. I believe Skylar is just a child as well. But watching this child really lays it all out. Scared or not, she knew right from wrong. 5-year-olds know. I think she dug the hole a few nights before. Are we certain that she dropped the baby in the toilet? Maybe she lied about that and had it normally. Well, oh, that's the other thing she was questioning him. She was saying, what if she had this baby in the bedroom? What if she had this baby in the bedroom? You know, what, and not in the toilet? She lied about so much. Why did she move her bed? Because she wanted to change, is what they said. They wanted to change because the cops left everything so messy. They cut the carpet. Yes, they did. The saddest thing, this happens all over the world. Did you see the women in prison who had birth alone? Yes, I saw that woman. Yes, I did, Janelle. I saw her. But she didn't do it alone, Janelle. There is a dead baby. We know it was alive in April. I still can't get over the fact that she gave birth on her own, cleaned up, went to the gym. After I had my first baby, I went into shock, and I was wrapped up in tinfoil blankets like a turkey, and that's 30 years ago. She is definitely a known liar. what happened yesterday at lunchtime when the judge said there would be, something with the gallery, Deb on the Move, he said the gallery was giving him problems and he had no more patience. Let's see. I watched my sister have a baby day before yesterday. He got stuck, came out breathing, and was deep blue. Once resuscitated, he started breathing his pink in seconds. The baby had a chance, in my opinion. Joan, she didn't murder me, but years after hearing my mom was abused for having me because I was called then a bastard, I understand Skylar's actions. She had help cleaning up, and the defense mentioned many times no Annabelle's blood was found there. There wouldn't be, would there? So why that comment? I just don't know what to think, but I feel the police manufactured evidence. What kind of evidence? Does anyone know when the mom will testify? Willing to take 3 quick. Also, testimony said that hasn't the trial ended? Karen, with my first, did the defense rest after this? Did the defense rest? Who watched it all the way to the end? No, it's not, and I didn't think so. I think she gave birth on some towels at the side of her bed, and then she carried everything to the toilet and passed the afterbirth in the toilet. No, it starts at 9 tomorrow. Okay. Hey, Casbat. That's what I thought. Yeah, only the prosecution. They rested yesterday. Well, actually, depends on where you are. Could be 2 days ago, depending on where you are. I was thinking, what kind of evidence do you think the police manufactured? I believe she gave birth in her room. Do you think it will go to the jury this week? I don't know how many more witnesses. Tomorrow's what? Tomorrow, I'm so messed up. For a minute, I thought today was Monday earlier. Tomorrow's Wednesday. It could. 8 more witnesses on their list. Might not call them all. Depending. How many did they do today? 4? Did they do 4 today or 3? I mean, that doctor was incredibly long. The judge upset that 3 ladies left the courtroom. Yeah, I saw people getting up, and I'm like, what is going on? It was interesting that her character is now a factor. I wonder what the prosecution can find on Cheerleader. Scary thought. They said the baby wasn't burned now. Right. Baby was not burned. 4, Carla's saying there's 4 more witnesses. Oh, 4 today. So it very well could be, if they did 4 tomorrow and 4 Thursday, it could go to the jury by Friday. It kills me that she pretends to have cared for Annabelle, yet during the conversation with her parents, they all refer to the baby as it. They did 1 more witness today. Oh, I know, I forgot. I didn't do the cross of the father, right? The cross of the father basically was very short. All they said to him was that if Skylar would have told you that she was pregnant, you guys would have been shocked and you guys would have been angry, but you would have supported her, correct? And you would have bought everything that baby needed, correct? And that baby would have wanted for nothing, correct? And you would have been there to support her through all of this, correct? Yes, so that's all they, let's see. That's all that they were saying to the father. I forgot because I moved my Yeah. It's clear you love your daughter. She would have come to you on April 26th and told you she was pregnant. You would have been shocked and angry, but you would have dealt with it, and you would have made sure that that baby didn't want for anything. You would have, you would have helped raise that baby. You would have helped all this. Yes, 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 yes. You would have been prepared, for that baby. Wouldn't have wanted for anything. Is that fair? Yes. If that baby was in distress, you would have done whatever it took to help that baby. Yes. You never heard a sound. No. Did Jackson hear it? As far as I know, no. And then that was it. That was the end of the prosecution's cross of the father. They will probably, I don't know if they're going to call like those coaches or those teachers for character witnesses that they said. The father was a load of horse manure. They were not allowed to question him on the interview. He was a waste of time. The father, what was the deal that he didn't want to appear on camera when he's on camera every freaking day behind his daughter, and he's on camera on the police interview? What in the world? Her parents would have told her to put it up for adoption. Well, still, yeah, well, whatever. It wouldn't have. Weird the cross was so short. It was very short for the father. I just don't know why he didn't want to be on camera. That was kind of weird. But what did I have? Not sure whether letting the parents have so much power. Skylar was 18. She has her dad wrapped around her finger. She has been spoiled. Have you discussed the mother? The mother was a witness for the prosecution, but the prosecution rested, so I don't know. I don't, why can't she, I guess maybe she's a rebuttal witness. She might be a rebuttal witness that they're saving. Not a rebuttal witness. She can't be a rebuttal witness because she wasn't a witness. So can they pull her in at any point? If they can't, why can't she come back in the courtroom? I don't know. I don't know. The mom's having a nervous breakdown. Maybe they just didn't want her in the courtroom and they lied about it. I don't know. Can you imagine? I don't know. Was it a strategy? Maybe he didn't want to be on camera. And if they're worried about reputation, it could have run around town and had the baby. She was subpoenaed, right, by the prosecution. The defense could call her even though she wasn't their witness. When your son was born, if I had not been in the hospital, he would have likely died. He was not breathing. Right, yeah. She should have sought help. Unless they are not going to call her because a possibility she was involved. I said the same about him not. Maybe he didn't want to be seen if he cried. Oh, CYNT, you missed a lot. What was I looking for? Oh, I had to thank someone from last night that I missed. This one. Time is it? 3. Hold on. My internet, that's the wrong email, great. Okay. think. Okay, let me see. I had it in here before. There was somebody I missed. Hold on a minute. Why can't I find it now? This is so weird. This is really weird. Okay, I even sent an email. Oh, what am I talking? It's probably right in my, hold on a sec. Let me see, I think it's here. Okay, so it was Desiree, is it Mehrez? Thank you. You said hugs, mommy. That was yesterday. Thank you for that. And I was not here. So there, that's who that is. Okay. The mother better testify to save her daughter as a mother, even if she takes the blame for her stupidity. Why do you think the daughter is going to be convicted, Diana? I think she will be found guilty of all apart from murder, and only because no one can prove that, Nicole says. She did not plan to have the baby, that's why she kept it a secret. I agree, but not having medical care is terrible. But I've worked with many teenagers that didn't have medical care, and it's free in Australia. I personally do not think the baby would in any scenario be born. They asked the father if he had any regrets. I didn't have a lawyer during the second interview. His daughter's dirty little secret would not have made it to court. I don't think guilty, not for murder, nope, Jeanette says. Sarah, I agree with Nicole. She could have received medical. She was under her parents. Yeah. Mommy, are you open for fast 3-minute, in my opinion, where ramblers are on the guilt? Phone calls limited to discuss. I mean, if anybody wants to call, they can call, but I mean, I think they said it here too. The mother being called for the other said the defender, the prosecutor, which is weird in itself. Guilty, but too much doubt for the jury. Yeah, it's too bad they didn't find out way before the baby was decomposed that much, right? It's already 3:07. The chat is saying what they think, right? I don't know. I mean, he took one of the, he did, Donna. He took one of the charges off. You had an open mind about this and didn't jump to murder. That happened yesterday, Jessica, after the testimony was finished. There is reasonable doubt, so not guilty for murder. I wish the person who had killed... What? Oh my gosh. I'm just checking something. Well, that there's your trolls. There's your trolls. It's the same number that keeps calling. I'm just going to put this on mute for a minute in case they want to make a show. Okay. The photo that they used for that profile that said that thing, yeah, I'll block it. I'll go in there and block it. But the photo that they put came from random people photos. It's a 407 number. It's the same number that's called other times. I think it's one of those spoof caller things. And it called at 12:15 before I even went on. They're desperate. Nothing else going on in their lives. Nothing. And absolutely nothing. Pathetic that a freaking troll. They're obsessed. They are obsessed with us, this community, this channel. They are obsessed. No, Miss Roger Rabbit, they're not really from Orlando. They use different numbers. You can get all kinds of numbers. But whatever. Let's see. Will that not wake the boys? No, because it doesn't ring upstairs at all. Let's see. You think it was some... Could all her exercise have killed the baby? It could if she raised her body temperature up very high, but I mean, you've got the pills, you've got a lot of things, but I don't think the baby was stillborn. I don't think the baby was stillborn. But normally exercise won't if you're used to it, you know, and all of that. Hey, one witness today gave a very good explanation of how a suspect can be trapped into making a false confession. Who is that? They already pushed that narrative, and it doesn't even prove she actually knew until Dr. Andrew told her she was. The last witness? Okay, I've got to watch the last witness. No, Richard, didn't you just ask that question? That was the expert on false confessions. Is that about the read tech? Did they go over the read technique then? I've got to watch that one. He also said that that type of questioning can make them tell the truth. I see. Deb, where are you seeing that? Where did you see that? You went to school with a girl who gave birth in her bathroom. The parents never knew. Did the baby live? What happened to the baby, Teacup? Oh, okay. You believe the baby was not stillborn, it was healthy. However, the prosecution has to convince the jury that she murdered the baby, and it will be difficult to get everyone on board for a guilty verdict. You think CW is a decent evidence that the cops can feed you a story and get you to repeat it? Yeah. Professor Hirsch. Okay. What did I ask somebody something? I don't know what I asked somebody. She thought if she told them what they wanted to hear, they could go home, that she could go home. And even the parents said, tell them the truth. You are going to jail. Should have gotten an attorney. Oh, she cut the cord and the blood went everywhere. She started screaming because she thought she was going to bleed to death. That's what I was saying. Her story is in Long List Family. What is Long List Family? What is Long List Family, Teacup? She was remorseful. She got caught. Not remorseful. The baby died. Carolyn, oh my goodness. I took a boot camp exercise class for 3 months, and there was a bee looking and close to do. Oh, and close to do. Outdoing me. I had to say to her, wow, you rock. And she had just had her first there on an iPad. Long Well, that's like my niece. My niece had worked out because she runs a yoga studio and everything. She was inverting and doing everything right up until she delivered. Oh, Long Lost Family on TV, a show about adoption. On what channel? Long Lost Family. Long Lost Family. What channel is it on? It's a British TV show? That's your sister's favorite show? What is it on? You got confused by the whole week. The Living Channel here, but Teacup, you're in the United States, correct, Teacup? Aren't you in the United States, or are you in the UK? I thought you were in the United States. To say you were so happy, even if it was a true story. Right, yeah. You wouldn't say that, absolutely. They have the American version as well. Ohio juries are very conservative in the history. Oh, you think it's on TLC? Long Lost Family is on YouTube. Oh, it's on YouTube. She was obviously overwhelmed with joy after the baby was dead and buried. Doctor always says if you exercise, yeah, you can do the same. Skylar was very happy to be rid of the baby. I think it's manslaughter by negligence. The baby was dead, period. Can't prove she murdered the baby. I don't know. I mean, TLC, I think if you Google it, Dirty Little Secret. What is Dirty Little Secret? Oh, you guys have that? Are these new shows? What's going on? What's Dirty Little Secret? Dirty Little Secret is a show about murders. You can watch it on YouTube. Isn't Dirty Little Secret is what the Jodi Arias movie was called, but I guess it's a series too. What do you use to... If I get asked that again, I use nothing but water. And I don't clean it, contrary to what so many people think, that like I'm slaving over it every day. It's just a really good finish on it. That's what it is. It's a very good finish that doesn't get fingerprints. Good night, Joe. You dropped ketchup on my clean top. Oh dear, sugar balls. It is TLC. I almost wrote in, but they found my birth mom through Ancestry DNA. It is for sure TLC. Yeah, Dirty Little Secret, the movie, but they said there's another Dirty Little Secret about murders. No, it's American on TLC. Okay. Just say it's fake. It's easier. Random guy is still a rambler. Yeah, why? He just emailed me yesterday. I thought the same. Alicia. Her story is on YouTube. I'll have to see. What is her story called? How do I know? It's just the girl that gave birth in the bathroom? There used to be these podcasts I got about real adoptions, like, I mean, crazy, like, not they were like podcasts, but they had videos, and not podcasts, I shouldn't say that, sorry, strike that, webinar kind of things. And there was this one, and it was true, she had like 4 kids, and then I think she gave one to this couple, and then she was pregnant with another one, and she gave it to them again. And I was just like looking at this whole situation, and it was real as it was happening, and these people were in this webinar thing, and I don't know how I got invited to it. I forget if it was because I was a blogger or because of something else. And it was amazing. And they used to keep emailing me about them. And then I think I took myself off, but that was a very interesting thing. I mean, that was really real life right happening now. The mother looks like she has an eating disorder. Very, very possible. Very possible. Just by the way she was going back and forth with those texts and giving her daughter the laxatives or those skinny pills or whatever. You're going to look for a Dirty Little Secret was the description. Oh, Dirty Little Secret was the description. Okay, hold on a minute. So then it's not another secret. It's not another show. It's the show you said, and it's Dirty Little Secret. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, just send me a link. Thanks. One of the Long Lost Family episodes was in Minnesota. I can only watch so much longer. I cry the whole time. Why? What is it like? Why are you crying? Crying happy tears or cry? What's going on? What kind of tears are you crying? It makes you cry happy tears? Okay. It's called Dirty Little Secret. It involves women of easy virtue. Okay. It's quite emotional when you see them being reunited. The Long Lost Family show can be happy and sad. What does cute, white, and blonde mean? What? They said the baby lived for at least 5 minutes. It is a newborn baby girl, heart-wrenching. I think of my daughters. What was I going to say? Anything else? Oh, I wanted just to go over what happened with that cop. Hold on a second. 1 second, let me grab that. You know what? Hold on, I've got to get. Okay. I'm just trying to find my thing here. Oh, Margie, I just saw your... Hold on, Margie. Can I show it? Is Margie in the chat? Oh, that's cute, Margie. Margie's working on a logo. Well, like one of the, I told you, anybody, like, you can put as many as you want. That's really cute, Margie. Very, very cute. Okay. All right, so let me see here. Trying to see where did I put that? Sharon, Cowgirl said you didn't respond to her about picking up your kitten. Do you want me to pick it up for you? Let's see here. I'm trying. Oh, I'll just get it. Come on. Okay, here we go. All right. Let me just see if Sharon answered me. Go pick her up. Okay. Did Sharon answer me? Somebody watch Sharon. I'm going to read about this, whatchamacall, this cop here. So, oh boy. It says, the police officer says they never had sex. The woman says they never had sex. Hold on, where did my thing just go? Get back here, get back here. I hate it when my thing that I'm reading jumps. Come on. Oh my gosh. Okay, but when the sheriff's office opened an internal investigation and called the woman's husband, the first words out of his mouth were, "Is this about the detective who was expletive my wife?" The police officer at the center of this rumored affair was a top lieutenant and with the Warren County Sheriff's Office who oversaw criminal investigations. He has since retired. This lieutenant, John Fain, also was the lead detective on the most high-profile murder case in the county since Ryan Widmer, a case where defense attorneys have already taken shots at the prosecution for using what they call bad forensic information they say tainted the case. Last summer, Brooke Skylar Richardson was arrested and accused of killing her newborn daughter and burying her in her parents' backyard. The former high school cheerleader's family say she gave birth to a stillborn child and did the only thing she could think of, bury it. She is charged with murder. A few days before the nationally watched trial was expected to begin, Warren County Sheriff Larry Sims demoted Lieutenant Fain and wrote a scathing letter about his conduct. In it, Sheriff said Fain's relationship with a woman he met on Snapchat continued in secret while he was on duty. Maybe that's where he was when he kept going. Maybe he's doing some Snapchats. I don't know. And has had far-reaching consequences. Fain is married. Ooh. Fain is married to a Warren County judge. Wow. Your actions can cause your integrity to be questioned for the remainder of your career, Sims wrote in a letter to Fain. Hold on, there's more, but my internet is being wacky. Come on. Hold on. He had an affair with one of the witnesses. I think he's married to a judge. They said, yeah. Snapchat. You got a weird vibe from him? Let me see if it's okay. Is it back now? So it was acting really weird. Okay, here's where we go. Here's what the investigation found. Over several months, towards the end of 2017, Fain would meet a woman at a church, while on duty. He would then drive this woman to his house in a county-issued vehicle, and they would spend up to an hour with each other. He did this without permission or his supervisor's knowledge. Fain, who is married, said the two were just friends. You know, come on. Not blowing things out of proportion now. He just needed a friend to talk to. He says they would talk, yeah, and he would let his dogs out at home. Yeah, I'm just talking while I let the dogs out and stuff. I don't know if everybody's making a big freaking deal about it. He would eat lunch and he would perform other household chores. Okay? The house was getting clean. She was helping. Let's see. He repeatedly denied any sexual activity with the woman. Police tested Fain's cruiser for DNA and found no evidence of sexual activity. Come on, guys. He was just talking. It was his friend. It's a big deal. Fain later filed a grievance with the sheriff's office and was given his lieutenant's rank back. His demotion was changed, I can't read tonight, to a suspension, and he was given back pay for the salary he should have received. In return, Fain agreed to retire. Okay, so let's see. Now my thing just went like crazy. Where did my article go? Okay. Investigators did not say Fain's behavior negatively impacted the Richardsons' investigation, but the teenagers' parents and their attorneys have been critical of the way police handled the case. Let's see. In a written statement provided at his disciplinary hearing, Fain said this relationship and the Richardson case have nothing to do with one another. But Sheriff Sims acknowledged rumors about Fain's conduct have been discussed in a Facebook group following the Richardson's case. County employees also have approached Fain's coworkers and made jokes about his behavior, the sheriff said in his disciplinary letter. An internal investigation, which in part was prompted by a phone call from a freelance reporter who has covered the Richardson case extensively, concluded Fain violated rules of unsatisfactory performance, unbecoming conduct, and absenteeism reporting for duty. Investigate. Okay, let's see what else is said. All right, here we go. Let's see. Where were we? This happened up to 20 times where he met her when he said he was putting his dogs out and stuff over several months. According to the internal investigation, Fain says the relationship ended when the woman's husband found out she was meeting him. Fain self-reported the relationship, but not until 2 months later when a reporter called to review his personal file. He said he didn't report it sooner to avoid humiliating his wife. I wanted to wait as long as I could before I humiliated my wife. He reportedly denied any sexual activity with the woman. Police tested Fain's cruiser, right? We got that. Okay. Richardson's trial has no. Okay. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. Partial comment. Interesting. All right, I'm coming back. Oh. Mommy, this story gives a whole new meaning to cleaning the house, as in come upstairs to see my etchings. How good is it from all corners we can come together and discuss literally anything? Yeah, interesting, right, Diana? Absolutely. See what's going on here in the chat. Vane was an idiot. Too many jokes, dirty to having a bit of lunch. He did say something about the internet, like, I'm surprised he didn't mention Snapchat. Did Sharon leave? Oh, there's Sharon. Oh, something wrong with your cat, Paige? You're right there. Did you make an appointment to go pick up your cat? She said you're not answering her about picking up your cat, so I guess you don't want it. You're going to bed? I think I am too. I'm exhausted. Oh my gosh, it's 3:39. Where's Lisa? She normally tells us when it's 3:33. I am exhausted. I'm so tired. And I have to finish watching that other thing. Oh my gosh. But you didn't know? You better check it out, Sharon, because that's what I've been told today. I don't know. Somebody might go get her. I don't know. Could just get her for you or something. Sharon had to leave to collect her kitten. Oh, I don't know. Maybe McDonald's banned her. Maybe. Okay. Your niece got a tick bite and later on in her life. Really? Anyone know what, Michelle? What do you want to know? What does Michelle want to know? What does Michelle want to know? I can't see your question, Michelle. What do you want to know? I'm looking up in the chat, but I'm not good at that. I can't see it. Sharon is waiting. Oh, yeah? Okay. Oh, and day 5 of the trial, what about it? Why did they cut out the part where the dad was asked why Skylar couldn't tell them? What do you mean they cut it out? I don't know what you're talking. The dad was asked, why did Skylar not feel comfortable? Well, because there was probably an objection. We had to let my daughter's Zerky go. First time. Oh, no. Sorry to hear that, VA girl. Sorry to hear that. You had 2 cute little raccoons come to your back door tonight. So cute. Well, I told you they probably had an objection, Michelle. That's what they usually do. When they have an objection and they go approach, they turn it on, turn the audio off, and then they come back. Thanks, though? No. That's the answer. That's what happens. He said, I wish I knew. But I think she's talking about something else when they turn the sound off and then they come back. I think this is what she's talking about. From the father, yeah. They probably objected because it would be, he can't say what she's thinking. So that's probably was the objection. Yeah, and towards Skylar, yeah. But, all right, thanks to our mods for coming in. My eyes are like closing. And I'm having really bad times with the coffee table. But anyway, good night, everybody, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Prayers for everyone that needs them. And, oh my gosh. Okay, I can never see where I have to get out of this thing. Okay, good night.